Hi, Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. Welcome back to Money Business. Okay, for today's show, we are going to discuss about Islamic finance. Do you know anything about Islamic finance? Okay, if you don't, then I'll introduce you with the overview of Islamic finance and its development in Malaysia. Okay, Islamic finance is the financing activities that complies with the Sharia laws and is practical application through the development of Islamic economics. Okay. Islamic finance is no longer a new phenomenon in the financial system. Over the past decade, in line with the conventional finance, Islamic finance also become an important component in the financial system. At present, there are more than 300 Islamic financial institutions operating in 75 countries over the globe. The Asian Banker Research Group reported that an annual asset growth rate of the world's 100 largest Islamic financial institutions is about 27% per annum, while the total global Islamic finance industry is growing at 20% annually. In Malaysia, the evolution of Islamic finance began in 1969 with the establishment of Lembaga Urusan Tabung Haji and its first Islamic bank, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, which started its operation in 1st July 1983. Okay, Lembaga Tabung Haji was set up to assist the Muslim to save enough money for their trip to Mecca to perform the Hajj. The funds deposited by those Muslims were then invested in Sharia compliance business activities to generate revenue. Okay, the generated revenue was then being distributed to the depositors by giving dividends. Okay, to make it more attractive, the Lembaga Tabung Haji pays zakat on behalf of the depositors. Since the bank has been making tremendous progress, after the 10 years of the introduction of the first Islamic bank, the Islamic banking industry saw sudden growth in the industry when Bank Negara Malaysia approved other conventional banks to conduct Islamic banking business through the Islamic banking windows. With many new products and many other players in the market, there was a need to the Islamic banks to interact and deal with one another. The world saw the first Islamic money market come in place in Malaysia in early 1994. The Islamic banking and finance industry has developed from scratch into a very important sector in the economic development of Malaysia. From 1969 to 2007, there are many important events that occurred in the development of the Islamic finance in Malaysia. For example, the establishment of the Plagiarism Fund Board in 1969, the Islamic Banking Act, Government Investment Act in 1983, as well as the establishment of Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, the first full-fledged Islamic banking in Malaysia, followed by the Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad, the second Islamic bank in Malaysia in 1999. The government, through the central bank, provides guidance and assistance to control the development of the Islamic finance industry in Malaysia. It is envisaged that in the near future, competition in the financial sector will continue to spur the growth of Islamic finance in Malaysia, supported by robust regulatory, legal and Sharia governance frameworks, the many participants and indispensable talents and expertise. Okay, next, I'll pass the concept for Islamic finance to Hazirah.
Next, I'll continue on concepts of Islamic finance. Islamic finance refers to a financial system that complies with Sharia principles, where it ensures that there is no unfair transaction should take place and all participants are treated fairly in their business dealings. In general, Sharia principle prescribe prohibition in Islamic finance transaction consists of four, which is riba, maisir, gharar, and the distribution of unlawful goods and non-halal goods and services. First, riba. Riba, also known as interest, where any predictable payment over and above the actual amount of principal, which is referred to as riba, is prohibited. Riba is prohibited because there is an element of injustice in the transaction. The monetary benefit gained by one party is not giving a just counter value to other party. Thus, wealth creation is concentrated in the hands of few people, which later might jeopardize and social welfare and stability. But not to be confused with trading activities, there is no riba involved in trading activities because Islam permits trade and commerce but prohibits riba. Trade is referred to as an exchange of commodities or merchandise between two parties. Next is Maisir, also known as gambling. All transactions in Islamic banking need to be free from the element of gambling or Maisir. Gambling is a game of chance where can be seen as an action that always enriches one party at the expense of the other, known as a zero-sum game. The third one is gharar, or also known as uncertainty. Uncertainty refers to any ambiguous or doubtful elements in a contract. For an example, if Abu takes a 100,000 loan from a bank and bank charge 2% above the base lending rate, the margin of 2% is certain, but the base lending rate is not certain as it can move up and down. And uncertainty is not permissible to the part of an agreement as it will make the whole agreement is not valid. And lastly, production and distribution of non-halal and unlawful goods and services. Islamic finance should not engage in any activities relating to unlawful or non-halal goods and services like pork, non-slaughtered animals, intoxicating or alcoholic drinks, pornography, tobacco-related products, and weapons, among others. The transactions are not only limited to selling and buying activities, but also takes in all chains of production and distribution, such as marketing, packaging, transporting, and many more. Next, I'll pass on Syahmi for the challenges Islamic finance.
Okay, we already know about the concept. Now, we move on to the challenges in the development of Islamic finance. Right, the first one is education and awareness. The low penetration rate of Islamic financial products are due to lack of awareness from potential investors. Islamic financial institutions need to do some aggressive campaign to promote Islamic financial products such as suku, ijarah, musyarakah, mudharabah, and many more. The second one is innovation and development. IFI need to produce innovative products that meet the needs of the public and private sectors. However, the challenge in creating such product is it need to be aligned with Sharia principle. One of the products that already met and have the future potential growth is suku. Okay, the third one is performance benchmark. Islamic banking or institution has been criticized on their operation or that more or less the same as conventional banking. These similarities are due to Islamic banking or institution use Islamic accounting standard that adopt mostly from the International Financial Reporting Standard (IFRS). What makes it different is that IAS must be guided by the Sharia principles. Right, now we move on to the fourth one is leveraging on information technology. IFI need to have an information technology system that able to capture and store long-term historical data, so the expected return and probability can be estimated, and the risk weight can be assessed and controlled by the IFI. And last one is skill human resources. Okay, the major problem or challenges is the scarcity of trained human resources in this field. IFI need more people to be the economists, policymaker, accountant, and also general public in the Islamic finance, so that the Islamic finance can be developed to the next levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Syahmi. Next, what is Maqasid Syariah? Maqasid Syariah is the objective of Islamic law. It is seek for reason and wisdom behind the endorsement of each of the ruling of Sharia and the secret that underlying those rulings with the aims to protect the interests of mankind. For your information, there are three categories of Maqasid Syariah, which are necessities, the needs, and the complementary. The necessities covers the basic needs of human existence, that is religion, life, language, and property. The basic needs have to be protected in order to maintain their life as good as possible. The second one is convenient, refers to something that people to avoid constraints and difficulties in their life. For example, Islamic finance contract like ijarah and musyarakah help the people do their daily activities. The third one is the refinement, refers to the interest to make human life easier that lead to be a better life and progress in moral and spiritual in the Muslim society. For example, sadaqah, moral value, and ethics. So next, for the gratuitous, I invite Shaficca. Thank you.
Thanks to Imran in explaining on Maqasid Syariah. Next, we move to Islamic financing contract on gratuitous. Gratuitous consists of three elements which are qard, hibah, and waqaf. Okay, the first one is qard al-hasan. Qard al-hasan refers to a benevolent loan extended by one party to another. The loan is free from interest or profit, and the borrower is expected to pay only the principal without any additional charge upon maturity of the loan. The rationale of extending such loan is to meet the requirement for socio-economic purpose of assisting the needy during the time of difficulty. Next, for hibah. Hibah is a gift or a token of appreciation by the borrower to the lender, which usually takes place when there is a qard al-hasan. Hibah is given voluntarily by debtor to creditor upon payment of the loan. Hibah should not be stipulated in the agreement, and it is at the discretion of the borrower. Nevertheless, it is highly desirable or sunat muakkad that the borrower gives something in addition to principal as a token of appreciation called hibah to honor the service and assistance from the lender. Next, waqaf literally means to stop, contain, or to preserve. In Sharia, a waqaf is a voluntary, permanent, irrevocable dedication of a portion of one's wealth in cash or kind to Allah. Once a waqaf, it never gets gifted, inherited, or sold. It belongs to Allah, and the corpus of the waqaf always remains intact. The fruits of the waqaf may be utilized for any Sharia compliant purpose only. Thank you.
Okay, that's the end for our show today. So I hope that you gain some knowledge and insight for the Islamic finance, and come back again next show.